So, in the last few years, with Joy-Based Living members, we have been exploring joy and also what gets in the way of joy, which is our natural state of being. And we found that shame is at the center of a lot of that. And I have so many questions about embodying worthiness, because shame feels like unworthiness, right? A lot of my members are very curious about worthiness, and worthiness, embodying worthiness, because embodiment is the heartbeat, is the essential ground that we walk on at Joy-Based Living. Embodiment. So I process everything through that word. And so embodiment, what does it feel like to embody worthiness? And when I land there, I land in a conversation about spirituality. Now, personally, I'm comfortable with that. I'm very comfortable in an internal conversation about spirituality. But many people who I know and who I've worked with have had either spiritual abuse or spiritual neglect. And it's made me very uncomfortable about talking about spirituality in any kind of real public way, in a way that can actually really unite people. The closest I've come actually has been through the 12-step programs, where, each person just defines their own higher power, decides who their own higher power is. Even if you have like a good sponsor, they'll ask you to write down your own description of your own higher power. What are you looking for? What do you want in a higher power? And make that be your thing. Well, recently I came across a book called The Way of the Rose, and it really, really brought home the fact that, not only is nature our place of where we feel most connected to ourselves, nature, but that human beings are the only animals that make meaning. We're the only animals who have wedding rings and beads and dolls. And so what does spirituality mean? Like, I think about before religion existed, there's evidence that people were like burning things like pieces of wood, like in small offering spaces. What were they doing? What were they singing? There's evidence that animal paintings in caves from thousands and thousands of years ago, pre-religion, that there were smiles on the animals' faces. And they were celebrating the birth of new baby animals. So I learned about these things from The Way of the Rose this past summer. And I'm now in a deep inquiry, and I don't want to be in it by myself. Why is it that holding beads feels so natural, and that when I hold beads in a certain way, I actually fiddle them through my fingers in a way that feels ancient and primordial? And why is it that the feeling of connection with something bigger feels so important for my joy, so important for my worthiness? So I've had this bamboo grove behind my house for years, and this is the very first time I've actually stepped inside of it. I knew there's a tree back here, but I've never walked inside the bamboo bush. Or the bamboo grove. I was always a little bit, intimidated by what might be behind it. I like going for walks, but hiking in the woods, like in this kind of way, is not like my most comfortable thing. And I really wanted to share these questions with you. I didn't know how I was gonna do it. And to be inside of this bamboo grove while I'm asking these questions is really It's an invitation. It's a plea. It's a deep yearning for connection and for community. You know, why is it that my friend who bought a property that has all these beautiful boulders on it, why does she feel so comforted being next to those rocks? And why does she call them the goddess rocks? And why does it feel so peaceful to be around those rocks? And why do those rocks feel so alive? I want to feel at home in my own nature. I want to be around people who care about feeling at home more in their own nature. I want to know more about what surrender feels like on purpose, because we're always surrendering to something. I think that's why narcissistic abuse is so prevalent, is because we're either surrendering to fear or we're surrendering to love. And if I don't surrender on purpose, I'm going to surrender by default. And I want to surrender on purpose because it feels lovely. It feels like, you know, when you teach a child to swim, you teach them how to float. It feels like floating. It feels like letting life and the beauty of life be present in my moment, in this moment. I want to know more about how intention and surrender fit together. I want to expand and stretch and hone the sense of belief I have in something bigger and the bigger dreams that live inside of me that came from somewhere. Where did those big dreams come from? And who do they belong to? And how can I steward them to the best of my ability? So I want to share with you a few authors that have come my way in the last few weeks. And I'm going to put some clips over the next few weeks from these. One of them is Oprah in her podcast with Jamie Kern Lima, and talking about the creation of The Color Purple in the 1980s and how the making of that movie actually changed her life. And she sang a song that was about surrender that really, really, really touched me. And I've been embodying it ever since. And also another author is Tosha Silver, who talks about 3 different types of offerings. What are offerings? How can I make my day an offering? How can I make this moment an offering? How can I make joy-based living an offering? It's always felt like an offering to me, but how can I be even more deliberate about that? How can you be more deliberate about the offering of this moment? If this feels right to you, I guess since you're listening this far, maybe it does. And then another author, I said Oprah, I said Tosha Silver, and the reason I choose these is because you know, Oprah is somebody who's respected globally. She's so loved, you know, but she says, you know, I didn't create all this. I couldn't have created all this in my life, like all these great things that have happened. I couldn't have done this by myself. And so that's why I choose her as a group conversation piece. And also Tosha Silver her book is called Outrageous Openness. And so to me, she's very inclusive, and she's from San Francisco. And so she's, you know, to me, it's important that joy-based living feel very, 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 very inclusive, that whether you're an atheist or you have a religion that really speaks to your heart, whatever that is, that we all here are inclusive. And then the other author, it was another woman. There was, Liz Gilbert. Oh my gosh, her recent interviews. She's really done her inner homework. She has really done her inner homework. She's the author of Eat, Pray, Love. So she's also world renowned. She's also very well respected, kind, healing. And she carries her awareness of healing trauma and her awareness of spirituality in a way that I feel from her being. Like, I feel her radiating awareness and kindness and love and clarity. So, and then the authors of The Way of the Rose are actually a family. So if you looked up The Way of the Rose, you would get more of this, the insights I was sharing before about, you know, beads and dolls and meaning and offerings. And so talking about the divine feminine is a new conversation. Talking about spirituality beyond the confines of what we know it to be in our current world. It's got a more masculine tone to it. I wrote a book called Mother Love, and I feel like this invitation into this exploration of embodying spirituality is a much larger, grander, huge yet comforting experience of maybe divine mother love, embodied spirituality, divine mother love. So I hope that this is stimulating some sense of curiosity in you, maybe something even more, you want to grow something inside, maybe desire for something more, to feel more connected, to feel more clear, to feel more conscious in your own life. My wish for you is to be more fully who you are in the world, more fully who you are when you're by yourself, and to have more joy inside of your own heart and in every one of your relationships. So thank you for listening. Thank you for growing with me. I love the magic of this tree in the middle of this bamboo grove. Look at that. That is just pure magic. You are pure magic. If you have any thoughts or questions or insights or your own prayers that really come home for you that you'd like to share, please do. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of my world. You're a gift to me in a big way, more than I can put into words. Bye for now.